And we are back here at the DreamHack Open featuring Fortnite, where we have wrapped up 4 games out of the 6 for the grand finals here of the European portion of the competition. Tens of thousands of players competed on Monday in our open qualifiers, but only the top 100 can compete in the grand finals, where the $250,000 prize pool awaits them. I'm your host, Hello Kelly Link, and of course, we still got Shia Wager and Levin2K calling all of the action here. And Game 4 was a very exciting game. It did go to the way of Castery taking down Lanouf with 5 eliminations. Castery, of course, a player that we all know and love here. Oh, Levin, what's going on, man?
It's just the UK. I don't know, like when my boys from England and the United Kingdom, when they just do me proud, I just feel it's just different. The feeling I get is just different, so, but it's fine. You can continue.
We talk a little bit about the differences between North American meta and European meta, but do you notice a difference in the meta, maybe some meta that we're going to be seeing in the highlights right here, from UK compared to the rest of the European players?
Well, the main difference between the UK and everyone else is that we're just better. So the level of quality is just higher. I'm sure that's going to trigger some people in the chat now, but in general now, I think a lot of the European boys play, in a similar way. I think you can see, what's the right way to say this? Not like copycat, but like there's a lot of mirroring, like people trying to, base their games off of different players within the scene who are like the top players, like historically, right? You get people who are, trying to play similarly to Benji or similarly to someone like Savage or Monga, right? Like people who have kind of based their games off of these guys. So a lot of the, European guys, like the game, the style looks similar a lot of the time. Obviously, people within EU, we have our arguments about, who's the best, England, Sweden, Germany, I don't think it's necessarily important. I think at the end of the day, as long as we all know in EU that we're better than NA and OC and all them other regions, I think that's all that really matters. But great stuff from the UK boys today. Great stuff, great stuff.
I mean, I do agree with you, but something does matter more, and that's the points. And those points are going to be the most important point of the game here, and they're probably going to be in our top 20 leaderboard, the players with the most points. In first place, who is it going to be? Well, it's going to be Mr. Savage, still on top, representing 100 Thieves, 229 points. There's a 21-point difference between first and second place, and of course, in second place, it's going to be none other than Kenzel. Vado is going to be holding out third place, Dazenho still holding up on top in fourth, and then the most recent Victory Royale winner, it's going to be Castery holding out in 5th place.
Right now, Savage on defense on top. Cabbages in the chat too to help this man, especially when he's in endgame. Kinzel and Vato are playing really well. I mean, every single game surviving somewhere near that top 20 slot, somewhere in a fight for height or low ground. And because of that, they're in the top 3.
This has
great
been
stuff.
And incredibly great stuff coming out of Mr. Savage and all the players that we see here in the top 20. In chat, just a reminder, even if the players that are all the way down in 100th place, the fact that they qualified through not only the open qualifying heats, but the semifinals as well, is proof enough that they deserve to be here and they deserve to be in the top 100.
Yeah, I think it's definitely telling, right? All the players who I see on, especially on this top 20, right? It's like, we've seen them be successful today. I can think of moments where all of these guys, have just showed, just class Fortnite level of play. And I think, like I said, towards game 3, right? We're going to start to see, who's really in it to actually win it. And obviously, like you said, Shai, Savage on the defense, there's a good chance he holds on here. If he can continue to play he's playing, there's a good chance he holds on. And the scenes, if Savage is able to win DreamHack again, the final solo DreamHack we'll have for a while, I guess, right? Obviously, because we're moving on to duos next month. So it'll be great stuff, great stuff.
It's definitely great stuff there, Mr. Savage, clearly proving that he is one of, if not the best in Europe right now. But I feel like at this point in game 4 in the grand finals, we tend to see a bit more of a separation from like the top 10, top 5. They're all pretty close together. Mr. Savage is only 21 points ahead of second place. And if you go all the way down from 1st to 15th, which is Benji Fishy right now, there's only 100 points that separates the two of them. So with the 2 games that we have remaining left and the 60 points that you get from Victory Royales, as well as the elimination points, I still think out of the top 15, maybe even the top 20, that any one of these players could possibly take down Mr. Savage and claim the 1st place spot.
It'll be difficult though. And I know everyone always says, oh, if one person wins, like winning is very, very, very difficult, especially if you're consistently, staying in that top 20 slot, staying in top 30. pushing past Kinzel and Vato in top 5 to even challenge Savage, I mean, it's not as easy as it sounds.
No, and the top 4 players that we have right now in the grand finals don't have a victory royale. So clearly, victory royales don't make or break a player right now. Castery is the highest player we have right now with a victory royale. Mr. Savage, although he did get second place, has kind of placed around 15th, 14th, and 18th in his other 3 games. So victory royales aren't really the make or break here at the DreamHack Open. It's obviously a combination of placements, eliminations, and just performing really well.
And I think that's why I said earlier that it's really about separating the men from the boys, because, you know, in solos, the reality is you can have your one good game. You know, you can have your game where, you know, you go nuts, or, you know, you get fortunate with zones, right? Like Shia said earlier, you let the game come to you and things work out in your favor. But if you're someone who's constantly making things happen, right, game after game, you're putting yourselves in position to get good points and get good eliminations, then, you know, you deserve to be up there in the top with the likes of Savage and Kinzo and whatnot. So I think that's really why, you know, we're not necessarily seeing these people with victory royales actually, you know, all the way up there. It's because, you know, the other guys are just staying consistent on a game-to-game basis, and it's paying off.
Of course, though, the players that do have victory royales are performing incredibly well, too. We got Nate, we got Castery, Leche, and as well as, who am I missing there? Duck on top, which we all know is Squeezy. Or Squeeze. I need to stop calling him Squeezy. That's not his name. Everyone, we do have a break ready right now. When we come back, it's going to be game number 5 of the grand finals here for the DreamHack Open. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere.
It's mid-October, but Halloween might already be over. The broomstick might have just got vaulted from competitive playlists, which could really switch up this game that we're about to watch, Levin.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of big broomstick plays today, right? Obviously, even in Castery's game just now, he practically picks up that victory royale because he's able to reclaim height with the broomstick. So, you know, if that was one game later, maybe we don't have that whole UK on top moment for me. You never know, but crazy that that's changed mid-tourney. I guess that's going to be an adjustment for the players to make. Let's just see how it plays out.
Let's see how it plays out. Now we go back to possibly classic Fortnite. That being said, too, if it's all competitive playlists or maybe just arena, that might be a little bit of a switch up here and there. We'll have to see the loadouts this game to confirm. But just in case you guys missed it, there was an update on Fortnite's status. Regardless, let's keep watching Nate land down beams at Dirty Docks. That will not change with a broomstick or without. Matzo is looking to have a say in some Storm Surge tags as well. He's actually racking quite a few. Nate right now, I believe in our top 10. Yes, he's in 7th place. Now with 185 points. He's getting closer to Castery, who just, as you mentioned, Levin, won our last game.
Yeah, gap being closed here. And it's getting rather intense, man. It's literally, you know, gonna be down to the final game, it seems like. And these are the moments you live for with compared to Fortnite. This is why I love EU so much. It can be so intense. So I'm over to Podesai. Not somebody that I think we've watched much in terms of like his POV. So good to see him in good shape.
The one time we did see him is obviously that last game when he tried to go for height, I believe versus Castery. Got big denied, but what a fight it was.
Yeah. But ultimately, Castery coming out on top. And I'm sure Podesai will they'll be wanting to kind of get that one back, right? You know, a lot of the time, I'm sure, you know, you guys in chat will let me know, right? If you ever, you know, have a good game, but it's just not enough, right? You didn't get that victory hour. You got a bunch of good eliminations. You just wish you could go back to that moment, right? Maybe that one decision. Sometimes it's down to just that one edit, right? We've seen some players, right? It comes down to these just minuscule things that can really turn around your whole game, potentially your whole tournament.
And now it's big things that people like Podesai have to focus on. There's no more little fixes or consistency you can really do in games 5 and 6. You really have to put everything on the line. Podesai tried it last game, right now going for a break. I'm surprised that no pellets actually land on this gas canister. it'll stop a lot of things. This is still not hit. There we go. Now Jam side actually figuring out what was going on in that fight. For anyone here right now who's in that top 70 situation, top 60, as Kelly mentioned during the break, there is a little bit of a chance if they end up having 2 good games, or getting a good game against people in the top 10, like Lanouf, like Dezinho, Vato, Kinzel, and Savage at first, it's difficult. Even Jam side right now, Podesai is not only looking up with his pump, he's fighting up in standings. And yes, he's dodging shots. Yes, he's staying alive, but it's not enough. And he keeps getting held down.
Yeah, that one was a tough one for Podesai. It seemed like every single corner, Jamside was ready to hit him with a big chunk of damage. And ultimately, Podesai is going to have to, think about what his game plan is going to be going into the final game, because that's going to be end of game 5 for him. Benji now over towards Dooms. And we talked about how, from game to game, they've had different guests. Obviously, last game, no guest. This game, Alfie making an appearance. And I believe Alfie has made a couple appearances here and there towards Dooms in previous games. So a fight that Benji's definitely going to be open to. And you see Alfie knows it deep down. He wants no business with Benji Fishy. He's going to use them shockwaves to get all the way out of there.
Might not be enough when there's a car on the way. Now Alfie's at the gas station, so it's all good. Benji! Oh my god! The quick switch! No way, it's things you can only see really from Benji Fishy's perspective. My god.
It's moments like that just, it makes you a fan of Benji. Like, if only I had the stream reaction and whatnot to back it up, right? But that is just outrageous stuff from Benji. It's, you wouldn't believe he's playing in one of the most stacked lobbies in all of competitive Fortnite for incredibly high stakes. You think he's playing Arena?
Yeah, my man's literally ghost riding the whip in game 5 of Grand Finals. Actually, no way, and it's working.
And it's working. Preying on his next victim here, Exteriors. Exteriors in the previous games has showed that he also wants no parts of Benji Fishy. And I think the sound cues got a bit too much for Benji. He started to fear a bit, so to back away.
There's a difference though with Exteriors. Before he fully shockwaved away, I'm trying to find his actual placement right now overall in the tournament. He can't stop, keep running 24/7 if he's towards the bottom. He has to at some point hold his ground, maybe take a fight. He's 44th with 74 points or 73 points. So running over to Homely Hills, looting and just going for the vault might not be enough. He might need this quick pickup, but that means fighting Benji Fishy, which will be tough. Past Benji Fishy, still ahead. Vato, 3rd place, 203. Landing Misty somewhat moving near Lazy, or landing somewhat near that south side of the map. He's using a harpoon. We'll be hopefully finding some fish, but once again, playing a very heal-based positional playstyle. He doesn't need fights to get his points ramped up. He absolutely makes almost every single endgame.
Yeah, and someone who's gonna have to make every single endgame, it feels like, if he wants to really close this thing out, is Mr. Savage. Over here towards the ruins. It's just going to be about having a couple big games, right? He only has a couple left, right? Literally just 2 games remaining for him now, including this one, right? And Gooden has been someone who we've actually seen on the receiving end on a lot of beatdowns so far today. And Savage looking to make this one another, connects with a nice pump shot and the AR headshot to follow it up. I'm sorry, bro, but that bandy cannon is not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. Just wrap it up.
A slap in the face, honestly. That pickaxe to pump shot was just so smooth. And that was Vato and I dropped back to back at Lazy. One person we haven't seen just yet is Kinzel, who as of this game is in 2nd place and hopefully still alive. We keep watching as more tags are really thrown around. No one's really all-inning as much. But at the same time, I feel like people are being way too passive, way too carefree. Because of this, Vato gets shot down to even less than 100 HP with the shields. Shields get removed again. He has the minis to get all the way up, but he's not really popping them just yet. Down below is where iDrop drops, and then actually Matzo picks up Vato from the backside of the box. I'm not sure what that was. He had the builds, he had the minis and the time, but never actually chose to pop them or play that defensively.
Yeah, the panic there sort of set in, right? Basic box fighting, mechanics, right? You want to claim your space and really take advantage of that, right? You're trying to create separation so you have time to pull off a mini, right? So you have time to kind of slow the pace of the fight down, but, clearly a bit of amateur hour there on his behalf as it goes down. Hopping over to Squeeze, far from an amateur. He's gonna try to use his harpoon to really get in here. And he is in. It's just inches away, it's so close. If this harpoon connects, it's gonna leave this player on incredibly low HP. Look at
wow.
This, the non-stop chaser, it must be so difficult to play against this, man.
This is just unfortunate, though. He's not wrapping this up, Levin, so Havre is just using all his mats. Look at all that metal. That was at least 300 metal, almost going on 400 now. Squeeze is losing out so much and not wrapping up this fight fast, but there is the final piece of control.
Wait, Peppers are back?
I think it's Peppers and Candy at the same time. That's in the game.
Okay.
Unless it's a replay issue, but I've seen both used, but not in the same inventory.
I just thought all Peppers were Candy. Yeah, you make a great point there, right? Obviously, look at Squeeze's metal, 180. You would have been near 400 if Havre hadn't spent a lot. And I think ultimately, Havre probably knew it was coming to the end, so good on him to really, make it expensive for Squeeze, right? You can get this a limb, but, you're really gonna have to pay for it. And to be fair, right, Squeeze over towards Slurpee. And this is a place that is quite good for metal, so maybe he'll be able to recoup some of that.
Well, now Squeeze makes this entire tournament actually really interesting for the top 10. Him, MXR, Lanouf, and Nate are about 4 points between each other, or 4 points within tied of each other. So any elim each person gets now is going to be a very, very important. It'll shape the tides. Even placement, each person surviving or possibly getting eliminated within seconds of each other can mean a change up in the top 10. All 4 members currently still alive. Still need an update on where Lanouf is, but we always see him get into interesting spots in the mid/end game. So maybe we'll see his tower box once again, like we saw in game number 4. So far, Squeeze is looking pretty good with that one elimination. He'll have time to get that medal too. We're going for another mid-south zone. Slurpee in the mix, the Dam in the mix, Weeping, and correct me if I'm wrong, the last time that happened was Letchi with a huge win.
Yeah, Southside getting some love. And Letchi showing no love here to Adonis. He's looking to pick up just a limb and he wants to do something in a timely fashion. Adonis able to get away for a second, but I say only a second because you see here Letchi looking to break his way in. So good moving away and Mini might get involved here, right? They're very close to Mini. He might just decide he wants to get involved. Right now, it seems like he's staying away, and Adonis is just like a little rat. He's like a rat on the highway. You can't catch him. You can't even find him. He's absolutely everywhere.
Letchi looks like an experienced exterminator, though, right? He's blocking off all his sides. We've seen in EU how that third party really affects someone on the hunt. As easy as an elim can be, you want to make sure you're getting them for free. Letchi right now is getting tagged up a bit. Okay, maybe slightly expensive. This fight so far has cost him two chug splashes. He's still pushing forward for it, though. From the low ground now, he looks kind of like the rat, chasing a mouse in this maze. Adonis has maybe slightly had enough. Moving there maybe for a pump. Nope, still behind the wall. I'm surprised no one's actually picked up a single tag on Adonis. He's been out in the open for so long.
Bro, he's literally like a little rat on the highway. What are you gonna do about him? Maybe Letchi will finally be able to finish it off here, right? Because he's backed up against the wall, but This is like the third time he's been backed up against the wall, and he's able to get out every time. Finally, Lecce picking that one up. And took him a while, right? Took him a while.
I think it was actually good that it took that long. This wasn't the same as what we saw with Squeeze losing all those mats. I mean, there was a little bit of metal used, but look at how much time Lecce just kind of wasted. Now the other zone's here, and he has so much space and control of all these builds that Adonis made. He can easily get in, I guess, better than sitting in a box and waiting on Twitter.
You always got to check the TL though, right? You got to check the TL. Exteriors might find himself in some trouble here. Let's see. You know what controller players can do, right? We all know. But,
it starts. It's a wood box, man. Perfect combination for easy W key. Question is, how will Lecce approach it? Because once again, kind of expensive.
Who's this player on his back?
Tags.
Oh, it's jam side. He's got to be careful here, right? This point in the game, right? When you start to take engagements, a lot of players near each other, you can easily be third-party sprayed. And you wouldn't want that, would you? And just like that, right? Obviously, Lecce, right? From his POV, you get the sound cue, right? Of somebody being headshot, someone's, shields being cracked, whatever it is. And when you hear that, right? Your eyes start to wonder. You look for it, and it's where things can get messy for a lot of players. Lecce looking to make a play with the gas canisters. You know what? I don't see it often, so I do like to see it when people, sort of whip it out. But in the meantime, not incredibly effective in any manner. 58 players remaining.
Let's talk about how we got to that number 2. So far in this game, I think we've seen Ref's Guard actually pick up an Elim. There's Lecce's on the exterior, so one half of Doom's domain will not be able to survive, but we just watched on that replay iDrop take out Matzo. Dadol that we saw surviving in that last game wins a duel against Skydoin. Anas got an Elim onto Wolfies, so he won't be in this game either.
And Wolfies, who I was told is being coached by Arab, I believe. And always interesting to see when players like Wolfies, right, very aggressive, very skilled and talented player, kind of have the guidance of an IGL in that manner. Fortunately being taken out though.
I mean, if he is, right now he's in 83rd place.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going on.
I hope that's true, right? I hope I've not just been lied to and that Arab is nowhere near him, and Arab's hearing me saying you're slandering my name here, mate. I'm not even coaching him. He's doing a lot better with me in his back pocket. But a bit of an engagement here between Nate and iDrop. iDrop, who's been on an aggressive one today, right? It's non-stop. We just see him in some sort of an engagement, and Nate, who honestly, you start to wonder if at this point in the tournament you just play it slow, play it slow, play it safe, because you were so close to being able to get a victory royale and ultimately winning the whole thing.
I mean, we can see slow and safe on our screens right now. On the left side, it's Lanouf and Thomas HD, not really taking too many over-edited shots or peaks, and Dredda just takes one from Lanouf, who's just looking for surge tags. And was that Nate actually taking down Thomas?
Yeah, it was Nate taking out iDrop. And,
iDrop, yeah.
It's the story of iDrop's day, really. Finds himself in these tricky engagements with these incredibly talented players and has not been going in his favor. And it just seems to be one of those days for him, I guess. Nate now, moving out. You see it there, the top of your screen. Lanouf, though, like we said, sitting comfortably with Thomas.
I don't want to bring up this one old story, but you're more well-versed in EU. Is that storyline of iDrop and Savage's kind of shadow still relevant in his story overall? Because, we looked at the semifinals, Savage first, iDrop second, right? Him not being wanting to refer to as Savage's duo anymore at all. That was very, very old news, but is that still a thing?
I don't believe so. I think you know, it definitely was a thing, and you know, reasonably so, right? You know, you don't want to live in someone's shadow.
Yeah, I just felt like we never got to see a conclusion, you know?
Yeah.
Like iDrop take over, have a better placement or something like that. So in my mind, there's like a 1% sightline on an old story that might get a new flame at some point. Who knows?
Well, yeah, we have potential to see it, right? Because obviously in the semis, right, both have an incredible placement, but obviously Savage just edging it. And I think the reason why we didn't see that, you know, storyline have a solidified conclusion is just because, you know, a genuine conclusion to that story is you know, iDrop kind of ascending to a new height in which, you know, people start to compare him to Savage. Whereas the reality is that, you know, Savage kind of just continued to excel and you know, move on to bigger and better things as an individual player. And so, you know, it is hard to quote unquote be in someone's shadow. Nate going down now, and you see poor positioning. That's all that is. Poor positioning, and the whole lobby's focused on him. And he gets sprayed out of the server.
And Nate was the one person I was looking at this game to compare to Savage in terms of the choices he was making to go for height, playing low ground efficiently when he needed to take a breath and really stay low key. But in this game, he won't be here, and that's another name that's not going to be able to contest that top 10. He was in 7th, so he's taken out. Kinzel, Savage, and Vato though are all here, and Janice, for some reason, I could not predict or expect this. Just 61 total points, around the top 50 mark.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing day for Janice. So obviously I say that he picks up an elimination, but you know, it's weird because the one game where we tuned into him, right? Obviously he was in a bit of an engagement over towards Sweaty, and you know, we said it was, you know, uncharacteristic of him, right? You know, the way we've been accustomed to him playing, he's just a very methodical player that plays things slow. He doesn't like to take these fights.
But in EU, we've seen kind of that you can have one game. You can have a door open for you one time, and if you get to walk through, if you really get to capitalize, you can hang with the top dogs again. 3 now for Janice in a span of 1 minute. This might be that game for him, right? Maybe he hasn't had that door open in the last 4 games.
Yeah, and with that elimination comes a large amount of shockwaves, which is going to be incredibly useful, right? If he wants to be in a position where he can actually come out and maybe have a higher placement game than what he's had so far today, right? Max materials, 6 shockwaves, you know, that's the way you're going to do it, right? Using the shockwaves to rotate, having an excess amount of mats available to you later on in those later zones is going to be crucial.
And now let's set up that end game a little bit thinner. 38 people. Last time, things were slightly beefy before they teetered off, but that means that it's even more important to defend your builds. We see Kinzel there, lower HP. X Squeeze is here too, as Janice has the best side of the zone. Jam side picks up Nipsey as a first elim for our end game. And I'm waiting to see when Janice will use these shockwaves.
So we can switch on to the entire zone. You see all the names there. So much going on. The Siptos looking to rotate in. 170 points for him as well. He's had an amazing day so far, but the job's not finished. Moving towards that front side, looking to position himself well. Finally starting to pick up some eliminations on top of that. Looking back, what will he find? Nothing of, yeah, but Janice on the high ground. This is where we want to see him. Put them shockwaves to use, boy. Janice with 5 shockwaves less, raining havoc on the rest of the server. Nobody even looking to contest it right now, it seems like. And this is setting up to be an amazing game for Janice right now.
He has complete control, and he has insurance on top of height. 5 more shockwaves to answer with if anyone wants to go for it. The Siptos and Queasy are in view. It is Weeping Woods though, and somewhere close beside it, somewhere near that Slurpy Swamp range. That means that trees are in the way. Might be that much harder to take height, but for Janice, that much harder to get eliminations. It's anyone that's really in the air, and he's landing tags. No one's really going down though. Make the piece picking up 1 elimination, but that was about 15 seconds ago. Everyone is just playing box to box. They're holding on to the last moments of DreamHack Europe.
And look at the low ground now. The Sceptos Septos actually winning that. He was down to about almost 10 HP there. He picks up that elimination onto Jam side and things are looking good. Janice still raining havoc on height. If you look at the Septos on the bottom right of your screen, he's trying to set up to do something of himself. Low ground starting to look hectic. You see X-Squeeze knocked all the way out into the zone and he falls. Benji, Nako, Daisina, Trulex, so many of these names fighting out on the low ground. Thomas down to his last HP now as well. And you see the lobbies thinning out. Janice must be ecstatic up there because it doesn't even seem like a single player's tried to really make his life difficult up here. He's perfectly fine. And like you said, Shia, the insurance, so many shockwaves left as well. Kinzel finally takes up Thomas HD. And finally, Cammy, not Cammy, Kinzel looking to contest the height. Kinzel and Janice, teammates in their own right. And now they're fighting it out for high ground. Janice using them shockwaves to use. Going all the way back up. It's a massive pump.
No! And Kinzel steals the game away from Janice, possibly stealing the first away from Mr. Savage as Deceptos moves up to 217 points. No match though. We're tuning back in with low ground. Levin said it was hectic. Alpha picks up Mastor, but after that gets taken out by Deceptos, making it a 1 versus 1. So many things happen to lead up to this for Deceptos. Game after game, he's survived, trying to make a name for himself in this tournament. He's still moving forward, still going on, breaking off towards height. Slowly and surely, it's Kinzel he has to face against, who has unvaulted, basically, the shockwave launcher. He has so many. Deceptos is making it close and personal. Kinzel goes up for height. Deceptos has the beam. It is not enough just yet. Now, the roles reversed. Kinzel down on low ground. Deceptos is the new warden of height, the new warden of this whole zone. It's still not over. It's getting drawn out to the final breath. One more shot, still not enough. Both of them living. Perfect gameplay. A crash pad to bounce Deceptos up, and it's not enough for him to survive. Kinzel, with the huge use of utility, wins the 5th game.
And that was down to the final second. Kinzel with 9 HP left, just 1 tick away from falling. What an amazing game. We will be right back after this break.